No children have ever been born in Ashai. Not one. Not in recorded history. Women who travel there find they cannot conceive. Animals brought inside its walls stop breeding. Livestock won't reproduce. Even plants refuse to grow in its soil. The city is enormous. Larger than Volantis, larger than King's Landing, larger than Karth. It should hold 1 million people, but its streets are nearly empty. The few who live there move through silence and shadow, outnumbered by the darkness itself. The stone of its buildings is black, not painted, black all the way through, oily, faintly warm to the touch, even at night. Fire burns there, but it burns dim, pale, wrong. Ships that dock in its harbor have their hulls stained black, permanently. No matter how many times you scrub them, something is wrong with Ashai. Something has always been wrong with Ashai, and nobody knows what it is. Welcome back to Son of Odin, where we go deep into the lore the show never had the nerve to touch. Today, we're going to a place so dark, so strange, so deliberately unexplained that even George R.R. Martin seems afraid to take us all the way there. This is Ashai by the Shadow, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why it might be the most important and most terrifying location in all of A Song of Ice and Fire. Here's what we're covering today. 1. Where in the world Ashai actually is, because it's further than you think, much further. 2. What it looks like up close. The black stone, the dead harbor, the river that glows green at night, and what lies beyond the city walls in the Shadowlands, including a place called Stygai, that even the shadowbinders are afraid of. 3. Who goes there and why? Because only very specific kinds of people make that journey, and none of them are going for the weather. 4. Shadow magic. What it actually is, what it costs, and why Ashai is the one place in the world where it runs deepest. 5. Melisandre and Quaithe, the two most famous shadowbinders in the story, and what they tell us about what Ashai does to a person. 6. The theories, dragon origins, the long night, the darkness underneath the city, why Ashai might not just be a cursed place, it might be the reason the world is cursed. 7. Why Martin never shows it, the deliberate absence, what it means that the one place arguably most central to the story is the one place no POV character ever goes. Part 1. Where is Ashai? Most places in A Song of Ice and Fire are strange in ways you can still map in your head. Winterfell is north. King's Landing is south. Essos is across the narrow sea. Ashai is at the end of everything. It sits at the far southeastern edge of the known world. Beyond the Red Waste, beyond Karth, beyond the Jade Sea, at the mouth of a river called the Ash, where it empties into a body of water called the Shadow Sea. The region around it is called the Shadowlands, and the Shadowlands are separated from the rest of the world by a mountain range called the Bones, a barrier so vast and so hostile that most travelers don't even attempt to cross it. To put it into perspective, Ashai is so far from Westeros that most people in the Seven Kingdoms aren't entirely sure it exists. It's the kind of place that shows up on old maps with blank spaces around it and warnings written in dead languages. It is, in almost every meaningful sense, the edge of the world. And at the edge of the world, normal rules stop applying. Part 2. What Ashai looks like. The first thing every account agrees on is the stone. Every building in Ashai, every wall, every tower, every dock, every street, every bazaar, every temple, every hovel, is built from the same black stone. Dark, oily, faintly translucent. It seems to drink light rather than reflect it. When torches are lit in Ashai, they burn pale and cold, as if the darkness is actively resisting them. The city is enormous. Its walls alone could contain Volantis, Karth, King's Landing, and Old Town combined. All 4 of the greatest cities in the known world, inside one set of walls, with room to spare. By any reasonable estimate, Ashai should hold somewhere north of 1 million people. It holds maybe 10,000. At night, only one building in 10 shows a light. The streets are empty. Not abandoned after a plague empty. Not evacuated before a siege empty. Just empty. The way a city gets when whatever animated it left long ago, and nobody has quite admitted it yet. Thousands of stone buildings, most of them silent, most of them dark, standing exactly as they were built, for purposes that nobody now remembers and that nobody left alive can explain. The layout. Ashai sprawls across both banks of the River Ash, which cuts through the heart of the city before emptying into the Jade Sea. The part of the city closest to the harbor, closest to the sea and the trade, is the most alive. This is where the merchant houses operate, where the taverns and inns cluster, where sailors conduct their business and try not to think too hard about where they are. This is the part of Ashai where you can almost forget something is wrong. There is laughter there, commerce, the ordinary sounds of a working port. Then you go further in. Away from the harbor, the city changes. The buildings get older. The streets get quieter. The temples and palaces that fill the interior of the city are larger, darker, and devoted to purposes that no outsider fully understands. Libraries deep in the city hold lore that is forbidden everywhere else in the world. Rituals are practiced there that would see their practitioners burned, hanged, or worse in any other city. Nothing is forbidden in Ashai. Nothing has ever been forbidden in Ashai. Warlocks, shadowbinders, blood mages, necromancers, worshippers of the black goat, the pale child, the lion of night. Every tradition of dark magic in the known world has its practitioners in Ashai, drawn there precisely because Ashai asks no questions and enforces no laws against them. The people, the few who actually live in Ashai, are as unsettling as the city itself. They have their own language, shrill and ululating, used as much in magical ritual as in ordinary speech. They rarely go out. When they do, they walk alone, faces covered, moving quickly through the empty streets. Some travel by palanquin, curtains drawn, carried on the backs of slaves, invisible to anyone they pass. The Dothraki call them the spawn of shadows. They do not mean it as a compliment. Even the Dothraki, who fear almost nothing and have ridden across the entire known world, consider Ashai and the Shadowlands to be ill-omened. They have spoken of riding to sack the city, and then decided against it. The ghost grass stops them. Ghost grass is the plant that grows in the Shadowlands around Ashai, pale milk-white stalks that glow faintly in the dark and kill every other plant they touch. The Dothraki believe that one day ghost grass will cover everything, that the pale stalks will spread until they've consumed the Dothraki sea, the green fields of the world, every living thing that grows. They believe ghost grass is how the world ends. The river at night. During the day, the river ash runs black. The water is dark and dead. No fish, no insects, nothing living in or near it. You don't drink it. You don't let animals near it. Traders bring fresh water in by ship because the river cannot sustain life. At night, it glows. Pale green light rises from the surface of the ash after dark, cold and faint and deeply wrong. The blind, deformed fish that somehow survive in its depths become briefly visible, drifting through the luminescence. Only shadowbinders eat those fish. No one else will. The river that runs through the heart of the most sorcerous city in the world glows green at night, and nobody has ever fully explained why. Beyond Ashai, the Shadowlands, and Stygai, here is where it gets worse. Ashai is frightening, but Ashai is the edge of something, not the source. Follow the river Ash north, back into the mountains it drains from, and you enter the Shadowlands proper. A mountainous peninsula, enormous and almost entirely unexplored, where the peaks are so high and so close together that the valleys between them receive sunlight only at noon. Not dim light, not filtered light, total darkness. except for one brief window each day when the sun climbs high enough to reach the canyon floors. No benign life grows there, only ghost grass and whatever else the darkness sustains. And at the heart of the Shadowlands, somewhere deep in those lightless mountains, there is a city called Stygai. Stygai is called the City of Night. It is ancient, more ancient than Ashai possibly. It is ruined, or at least it appears ruined to the few travelers who have glimpsed it and survived. It is said to be inhabited by demons and monsters, not metaphorically, not by people so strange they seem monstrous, by things that are not human. Even the shadowbinders of Ashai don't go to Stygai. The people who have made their home in the darkest city in the known world, who practice magic that would horrify the rest of civilization, who have seen things in their rituals that the rest of us cannot imagine, even they draw a line at Stygai. They go to the edge of the Shadowlands. They stop there. Whatever Stygai is, it sits at the true heart of the darkness. Ashai is just the door. Stygai is what's on the other side. And Martin, characteristically, tells us almost nothing else about it. The Black Stone. One last thing about Ashai that the script would be incomplete without. The oily black stone that the entire city is built from doesn't only appear in Ashai. It appears at the base of the high tower in Old Town, the oldest part of that structure, built on a foundation that predates any recorded history of the city. It appears in the ruins of Yin and Sothorios, a city so cursed that the jungle refuses to reclaim it, which is extraordinary because jungle reclaims everything. It appears in ancient structures on the Isle of Toads and the Basilisk Isles, the same stone, in ruins spread across the entire known world, all of them ancient beyond any current civilization, all of them connected to darkness, strangeness, or places where the normal rules seem not to apply. The current scholarly consensus in Westeros, among the few Meisters who take this seriously, is that this stone points to a single builder, a single civilization, or a single event that predates everything we know about the history of the world. Something that existed before the first men came to Westeros, before Old Giz, before the great empire of the Dawn. Something that built in black stone across the entire world, and then vanished, or was destroyed, or went somewhere we can't follow. Ashai may not be a city that was built by humans at all. Part 3. Who goes to Ashai and why? Despite everything, the dead river, the empty streets, the pale fire, the unnerving stone, people do go to Ashai. 3 kinds of people mostly. Merchants, because Ashai sits at a crossroads of trade routes connecting east and west. And if you want access to the rarest goods in the world, certain drugs, certain spices, certain things with no name in the common tongue, Ashai is where you go. The trade is real. The profit is real. Traders have been making the journey for thousands of years. Then there are the shadowbinders, practitioners of a form of magic so dark, so costly, so fundamentally wrong that it is practiced almost nowhere else in the world. Ashai is their home. It is the place where shadow magic is deepest, most accessible, most powerful. They come to learn, or to practice what they've already learned away from the eyes of a world that would not understand. And then there are the desperate, people who have exhausted every other option. People who need something that cannot be gotten anywhere else. People who are willing to pay any price. And in Ashai, prices are always higher than you expect. The one thing that unites all of these groups is that none of them bring children. Nobody does. It's not forbidden by any law. It's simply understood. Children don't come to Ashai. Women who are pregnant when they arrive find that the pregnancy ends. No one talks about this directly. It's just a fact, like the Black Stone or the Dead River. You don't bring new life to Ashai. The city doesn't allow it. Part 4. Shadow Magic. To understand Ashai, you have to understand shadow magic. And to understand shadow magic, you have to understand what it actually is. which is harder than it sounds, because shadow magic is one of the least explained systems in the entire A Song of Ice and Fire universe. What we know is this: shadow magic is older than the Valyrian freehold, older than the Dothraki, older possibly than any civilization currently standing. It predates the knowledge of dragons. It predates the long night, or at least runs alongside it. It draws on something in Ashai itself, something in the stone, something in the river, something in the air. Shadowbinders who practice elsewhere in the world are working with a diluted, weakened version of something that is fully present only in Ashai by the shadow. The magic requires sacrifice, not symbolically. The power has to come from somewhere, and that somewhere is almost always a life. Melisandre's shadow assassins, the creatures she births in the cave beneath Storm's End and later beneath Dragonstone, are created using the life force of the men she sleeps with. Stannis ages visibly after these encounters. The shadows consume something real, and the Shadowbinder herself ages. Melisandre without her ruby choker is ancient. Centuries old, possibly. Shadow magic keeps her alive, but it costs her something with every working. She is simultaneously more powerful and more diminished than she appears. This is the core transaction of shadow magic: power in exchange for life. Your life, someone else's life, the life of the world around you. Ashai is a city that has been making this transaction for so long that the land itself is depleted. The soil is dead. The water is dead. The air resists light. Something, over centuries or millennia of dark practice, has been drained out of this place. And whatever was drained powered something. Something enormous. We just don't know what. Part 5. Melisandre and Quaithe. The two most significant Shadowbinders in the story are Melisandre of Ashai and Quaithe of the Shadow. Melisandre is the one we know best. Red Priestess, devoted to Arlor, the Lord of Light. She came to Stannis Baratheon because she believed, or claimed to believe, that he was Azor Ahai reborn, the prince who was promised, the hero who would light the darkness in the coming war. She is a true believer, but she is also a Shadowbinder, and those two things are in tension throughout the story. The magic she works is older and darker than Arhalor's faith. She uses it in the name of the Lord of Light, but the shadow assassin she creates to kill Renly Baratheon isn't fire magic. It isn't light. It is shadow, pure and undeniable. Melisandre never names Ashai as her birthplace directly, but it is strongly implied throughout the books. She is called Melisandre of Ashai by others. She learned her craft there, and she has been alive long enough to remember things that no one alive should be able to remember. Quaithe is more mysterious still. She appears in Qarth during Daenerys' time there, a masked woman who speaks in riddles and seems to know things she has no business knowing. She gives Dany cryptic guidance. She warns her of people she hasn't met yet, and she communicates with her across vast distances in a way that shouldn't be possible. What Quaithe wants, and who she serves, is unknown. She is described as a Shadowbinder from the shadow. She wears a lacquered mask at all times, which is a practice associated with Ashai. Her goals seem oriented toward helping Daenerys, but on what terms, and toward what end, the books have not yet revealed. Both women are ancient. Both are more powerful than they appear. Both have been shaped by Ashai in ways that set them apart from every other character in the story. They are living proof of what Ashai produces. People who see further than they should, who know more than they can explain, and who carry darkness inside them as naturally as breathing. Part 6. The theories. What follows is speculation. Fan theories built on the textual evidence, not confirmed lore. But it's the kind of speculation that Martin's writing practically invites. The dragon origin theory. The first Valyrian records of dragons place them in the 14 Fires, the volcanoes of the Valyrian Peninsula. But where did the Valyrians get them? And more importantly, where did dragons come from before Valyria? Some readers believe the answer is the Shadowlands. There are references in the world of ice and fire to creatures called shadow dragons, creatures of shadow and flame that exist in or near Ashai. These may be the origin point. The Valyrians may not have domesticated native Valyrian dragons at all. They may have acquired them, or knowledge of them, from the east. If Ashai is where dragons come from, it changes the entire framing of Valyrian power. And it means that the three dragons Daenerys hatches are, in some sense, children of Ashai's darkness. The Long Night connection. The Long Night, the great darkness that descended on the world thousands of years ago, is the catastrophic event that A Song of Ice and Fire is arguably building toward a second version of. In Ashai, there are records of the Long Night that don't exist anywhere else. Accounts of what happened during those years of darkness, written down and preserved by the shadowbinders. Some of these accounts reference a hero, Azor Ahai in one tradition, the prince who was promised in another. The theory is that the Long Night didn't come from the north. It came from Ashai, or more specifically, it came from whatever is underneath Ashai. That the source of the darkness, the great enemy, the thing the others serve, has its roots in the Shadowlands. The others approach from the north. But the darkness in the A Song of Ice and Fire world has always felt like it comes from further away than that. The Lovecraftian wrongness. This one is less a specific theory and more an observation about how Ashai is written. Martin describes Ashai using techniques that are more associated with cosmic horror than with high fantasy. The wrongness of the light. The oily black stone that appears in places it shouldn't, including, significantly, in the structures beneath the Dragon Pit in King's Landing, and in the ancient ruins of Yin in Sothorios, a city so cursed that even the jungle refuses to reclaim it. This black stone appears across the world, in ruins far older than any current civilization. It suggests a single builder, or a single event, that predates everything we know about the history of this world. Ashai may not be cursed because something bad happened there. Ashai may have been built by something that was already wrong, built to house or contain or channel something that the world was not supposed to contain. And if that's true, if Ashai was constructed by forces that predate human civilization, then the question of what it was built for becomes one of the most important questions in the entire series. Part 7. Why Martin never shows it. Here's the thing about Ashai that I find most interesting of all. We never go there. In 5 books, 5 enormous, exhaustively detailed books covering decades of history, dozens of POV characters, and geography stretching from the frozen north to the jungles of Sothorios. No POV character has ever set foot in Ashai by the shadow. We get everything secondhand. Descriptions from sailors who visited once and left. Accounts in old texts. The memories of characters who were born there but left long ago. Martin describes it in loving, unsettling detail from a distance, and keeps us at that distance, deliberately. This is not an accident. Martin knows what he's doing. The power of Ashai in the story is almost entirely dependent on never being fully seen. The moment a POV character walks its streets and sees it clearly, with all the specificity that point-of-view narration demands, it becomes known, comprehensible, manageable. Right now, it is none of those things. It is the place where the story's darkness originates, held deliberately off-page, generating dread through absence rather than presence. Every horror writer knows this technique. Lovecraft used it. Poe used it. The thing you don't see is always scarier than the thing you do. Martin has constructed Ashai as the ultimate unanswered question at the heart of his world. And the longer Winds of Winter takes to arrive, the longer that question hangs in the air unanswered. Maybe we'll get there eventually. Maybe a character will make the journey and pull back the curtain on what Ashai really is. Or maybe Martin will do the braver thing and keep it in the shadow where it belongs. Ashai by the Shadow. The city at the end of the world that no one fully understands, that produces people and magic darker than anywhere else, that may sit at the origin point of everything wrong in this story, and that we have never, not once, been allowed to fully see. That's the genius of it. If you want more deep dives into fantasy lore, A Song of Ice and Fire, The Witcher, Tolkien, hit subscribe and follow along. We go where the lore goes, and it usually goes somewhere dark. Next video, we're leaving Westeros entirely and heading into the Witcher universe. The Witcher schools, their origins, their methods, what they were built to do, and how they fell apart. That one's coming soon. I'll see you there.